Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the May-June 2023 episode of MyMCLS Showcase. MCLS, of course, stands for Monroe County Library System, and I am your host, Brian Burchett Ross. And as you can see, I'm not in the same studio that I've been in for the last couple years. That's because we've decided to take this show on the road for a while. And our first stop is the Ellis Branch Library, which opened in 1959. It also has been renovated several times, the latest in 2011. So, I want to thank everyone here at the Ellis Library for giving us their meeting room to record this in. If you're around the Ellis Library area, I highly suggest you stop in. There is so much material here, books and audio books and movies, and they have a wonderful, wonderful reference area that you can utilize. Anyway, so unfortunately, because I'm not in the studio, I do not have the teleprompter. So folks, you're going to be watching me read. But I want to tell you what's happening this month at the library system. Also, in this episode, we will be watching a video from Miss Karen called Dorsch Discovers Downtown, and we're going to interview Miss Regina and Miss Kristen about a community archive digital collection project called Memories of Orchard East. But first, let's see what's happening at your local branch in the month of May and June. Library in Motion. This service is free to eligible residents of the Monroe County Library System. We provide any circulating material, including DVDs, CDs, magazines, audiobooks, regular print, and large print. We will ask you to your preferred request and set up a delivery date and time. Call Library in Motion Senior Delivery Service at 734-241-5770. We visit monthly, every 4 weeks. All items will be due at our next visit. You would think as many times as I've said that, I would have had that one memorized. Anyway, Petersburg Novels at Night Book Club. This is a monthly gathering, and yes, they are meeting in person now. It is held on the second Wednesday of each month at 6:30 p.m., and there is also the Petersburg Book Club, which also meets the second Wednesday of the month at 4 p.m. Now, Miss Karen from the Dorsch branch has several events she'd like you to know about. They have the Summer Reading Kickoff, June 10th. That's a pretty big event every summer. The Downtown event on June 20th, June 20th through August 5th, I apologize. The Lego collaboration, June 20th through August 31st. Bees, Bugs, and Blooms, July 15th. The Summer Water Play for toddlers and preschoolers, June 21st and through August 16th. And also, the school-age summer reading program will be held on Thursdays at 1 o'clock. Now, I didn't give you a lot of information on what these are, because honestly, I'm a bit interested in the Lego collaboration myself. However, all you have to do to check out any of these programs, because I'm going to be doing it as soon as I'm done here, is to go to MyMCLS.com, click on the events calendar, and the event you're looking for. It will give you all the details on exactly what it is and when it is. Now, the Summerfield, Petersburg, and the Bedford Library branches would like you to know that singing duo Jackie and Gary will be performing their own folk songs as well as classic folk tunes. There is a lot of audience participation and interaction in this show. It is fun for all ages. Now, they will be at the Summerfield Petersburg branch on Friday, May 19th at 3 p.m. and at the Bedford branch on Sunday, May 21st at 2 p.m. And don't forget to check out our tutoring program. If you or someone you know needs some extra tutoring, please go to our website, mymcls.com, and reach out for help. Just another free service from your friends at your library. But that's just a few of the many programs we have available. You can also check out Paws and Pages with Miss Liz and Miss Bethany, Desserts with David, and so much more. And all you have to do is click on MyMCLS.com, click on the event calendar, and then click on the events for a full list of all the fun the Monroe County Library System has to offer. Now, our video of the month is called Dorsch Discovers Downtown, and it is hosted by Miss Karen. This month, she visits Amaya's restaurant. It's a pretty cool video. Hope you enjoy.
Hello everyone, I'm Ms. Karen from the Dorsch branch of the Monroe County Library System, and this time on Dorsch Discovers Downtown, we're going to check out Amaya's restaurant. And so just a little history of them. The parents were Larry and Sue, and they came from Mexico, and the brothers, Tino and Mark, have partnership to get the restaurant together. So we'll ask Tino more information when we get there. So come along with me to the restaurant. All right, everyone, we're here at Amaya's with Tino Amaya here, and he's going to talk to us about his business and how he started, and just give us a little information about it. So here you go.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming out today. We appreciate having you. So I got my start actually with my grandmother, Hortense Soto. Everyone called her Tencha. I started cooking in her kitchen when I was 8. And I never left. I mean, I joke around and say I'm Peter Pan. I'm the boy that never grew up. I get to hang out in the kitchen all day, and it's been a fun career path for me. So, but we, from Toledo originally. And then when I was a kid, my dad got transferred to Mexico, and so I lived in Laredo, Texas, went to culinary school, and then made my way back this way.
Great. So, thank you. Can you just about how you got started in here and being I know we kind of touched base a little bit about that, but could you share with us some information?
Like why we came to Monroe?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So we had our first restaurant we opened in the Ohio market, and we outgrew the space. I actually tried out for a show called Top Chef, and I didn't make it. I made it all the way to the elimination round just before you get onto the TV show, and I got cut. But there was a TV station in Toledo that picked it up. There were 2 of us that actually tried out, myself and another chef. And so they came and did an expose at our restaurant, and they talked about it, and they did this live segment with me cooking and making tacos and stuff, and we just blew up. The restaurant blew up. We ended up outgrowing the space. And when we were looking for a space, I started looking at all of the different metrics that were involved in kind of growing the restaurant. That was something that I had done in a previous life in a corporate position I had. So we started looking at the demographics in Monroe County. We were looking at Adrian. We were looking at maybe even going all the way up to Ann Arbor. And we were familiar with Monroe. I have another business. I'm actually a State Farm insurance agent, and I've had a very successful State Farm agency here in town for over 20 years. So, Monroe was just kind of like, all right, the stars aligned. This space came available. It didn't look like this, but it came available. I spoke to the Benetos, and here we are.
Well, we're very fortunate that you got here. That we would love Amaya's. So I know we saw in the paper about the social district. Would you like to touch base about that and explain that to us?
Yeah. So the social district, and I know a lot of people have questions about it. So a couple of quick highlights that make it something special for the community. And I have to give a shout out to Chris Bika. Chris and I started talking about this right when COVID first happened. The MLCC had put something out about possibly allowing businesses, restaurants in particular, to be part of a social district where we could sell beverages to go in certain cups that citizens would be able to kind of walk around the downtown districts or in special designated areas where they could drink, maybe sip and shop, things like that. And so, Chris started the process, and then unfortunately his business just didn't survive coming out of COVID. It was a tough time for all of us. So I picked up the ball. I met with the city, and Mark Cochran got involved, and Mark really helped kind of take it over the finish line. So what does the social district do for us? It allows us to host events without having to go through a lengthy permit process, number one. The other thing that it does is it allows the citizens to, let's say you want to go shopping on a Saturday afternoon. You can now visit any of the businesses around us. Again, you can have a beverage. Now, you can't take that beverage inside, but most of the businesses that we've talked to are going to set up either benches, have outdoor seating available, so you can sit out there while maybe the husband goes into Jones for Men and the wife is drinking a glass of wine. Or let's say Brown Bag Boutique wants to partner with us to do a sip and shop. Now we don't have to go through the lengthy process of trying to fill out permits and paperwork and all this and that. We can allow them to utilize a portion of our liquor license to host a true sip and shop where you can walk around, glass of wine, they can have things in the house, you can shop, and I think it'll help kind of build their business as well as accentuate the city. So.
Thank you. So just basically about the restaurant, what are some of the most famous, or people like the most on the dinners that you have?
Yeah, so our most popular items are steak fajitas. We still hand trim the steak, cut the steak in-house by hand. It's a process. We get in this giant roll of beef, and we trim it up to order. So our steak fajitas, a lot of people love them. It is a lengthy tenderization process, but it's something that we do. And then I think our chicken and chorizo chimichanga. We make our chorizo in-house. It's my great-grandmother's recipe. We've been making now, I think I'm third generation that's making it in-house. So we just kind of stick to the things that our family's done for generations, and we get to carry on those traditions. So.
Also, I'm asking this for my boss, Amber. She was asking about, you have a new vegetarian thing that you have going on?
Yeah. So you know what? I'm a chef in the truest sense of the word. I love experimenting with food. About 9 years ago now, I was at a food show in Venice, in California, and I went to this restaurant in Venice. There was this amazing chef named Travis Lett that was doing some crazy good food with jackfruit, using all different types of vegetables and just treating them as proteins. And I thought, man, you know what? This has got to be on trend. If this guy's doing it and he's at this big, amazing restaurant, then I need to try and do it too. So we brought jackfruit to Monroe about 8.5 years ago, maybe 8. I would say a solid 8 years ago. We started making jackfruit carnitas. We were making jackfruut chorizo. Any way possible that I could make jackfruit, I was making it. It started with just that. Now we do a toasted oat product that, where we make the oats taste like ground beef, like taco meat. It's bananas, man. We're doing some crazy fun stuff. But we're using tofu. We're doing tofu tinga, and we make the tofu look and taste like a chicken product, but it's just treating it like I would any other product or protein, but it's vegan food. We make our own vegan ranch dressing in-house, and it's 100% vegan. Our rice, our beans are 100% vegan, so it's just what we do.
That's great. What made you want to be a chef?
The honest answer is I didn't. No, I'm being serious. I didn't. I went to college to be an English teacher. I wanted to be a teacher, and somewhere along the way I realized I wasn't a very good student. And I had a manager that I was working with at this company who would constantly tell me I was one of the best cooks he'd ever worked with. I was one of the best cooks. And the company that I was working for offered a culinary apprenticeship. They said, hey, we'll pay for your culinary school if you give us 2 years of service. And I was flunking out of college because I wasn't a very good student. But I was working a lot and trying to, provide for myself and things like that. It was a different time back in the 90s. And so I thought, you know what, I've got no other option. I might as well do this. I'll have something to fall back on. Little did I know, 30 plus years later, the journey that it's taken me on. I've been all over the country. I've been to London. I've been through Mexico. And now I'm here in Monroe. But again, I don't like to brag about the things that I've accomplished, but man, I've had just such an amazing journey being a chef, that anyone that ever comes to me and says, I think I want to go to culinary school, I always say, yes, let's have a cup of coffee, let's sit down and talk, because I think it's the most amazing career path you can take if you treat it truly like a career path. But man, it's been great to me. It's been phenomenal. It's opened lots of doors, and I can't complain. It's been great.
So a follow-up question on that: who kind of like inspired you, and who brought you to be such a great chef that you are today?
Well, I don't know if I'm great. Let me start there. I think I'm really good at what I do, and I try really hard. But the inspiration it comes from my parents. My parents were migrants. My dad was a migrant. That's what originally brought us to Monroe County as kids, or like before I was even born. The last farm my dad worked was the Iperley farm, which is now a golf course. And so moving back to Monroe County, it was almost like a full circle experience, right? So I credit my parents first and foremost, because this is my dad's last name. This is our last name. And in my opinion, I think the greatest joy that you can bring your family in general is to make sure that you make your family name proud. So every day when I wake up and I flip the lights on, my mission is to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to continue making our family name proud. And by doing that, I think we've become some of the best ambassadors of the community. I think we've ingrained ourselves in the community, and we do everything we can to give back as much as we can to the community. And, I do all that just to keep the family name and legacy going.
That was beautiful. It was really nice. So can you tell us what an average day looks like for you?
Ooh, an average day. So anyone out there, I'm going to look right into the camera when I say this, because I give these talks a lot to young individuals that want to come into the culinary industry, culinary field. An average day starts at 6 a.m., okay? I'm usually up by about 5:30, 5:45. You're in the shower, you're out of the shower, you're getting your first cup of coffee, you're taking your vitamins, because yes, now at 50 I've got to take a lot of vitamins. There's a whole regimen that happens. But then after that, we're here. We're trimming meat, we're getting chicken ready, we're starting to make ground beef, we're getting all the tomatoes, the peppers, the onions, everything roasted. We're starting to put together the salsas. We make it fresh every single day. So that whole process starts, and it doesn't stop until we open at 11, and then it doesn't stop until mid-afternoon, or even sometimes 6, 7 o'clock at night, because we continue going through business. And then I usually get home around 10, 10:30. So a typical day for me is very, very, very long, Monday through Saturday. I usually take Sundays off. That's God's day for us. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but it is what it is. It's God's day for us, and we appreciate having that time with family and spending that time, kind of resting and recharging. So.
That's wonderful. All right, could you share with us, have you had anybody famous or anything local or famous that you have?
Yeah, I don't know if they're famous, but definitely local people that we enjoy having. Of course, Bronco McCart. Bronco's a great friend. Comes in quite often, and he's one of my dad's favorite boxers of all time. So my dad loves when Bronco's here and my dad's here. He loves talking to him and hanging out with him. And then, of course, Darren McCarty. I've become really good friends with Darren McCarty, former Stanley Cup champion and Red Wing player. And that's a whole nother story with how we met. But Darren has just become a great friend of the family. He's become a great friend of the restaurant, a great ambassador of ours. And so it's been a pleasure. And then, lastly, last year, for the Super Bowl. I was one of 5 chefs that was picked from the state of Michigan to go cook at the Super Bowl. I got to cook with a guy named Wolfgang Puck. Some people still remember who he is, but he is a pretty big chef in our world. He's a pretty big name, and that was probably one of the greatest experiences that I think I've had in a long time.
And of course, you've met Troy Aikman, too.
Yes, I did get to meet Troy Aikman, and that came full circle at the Super Bowl because I cooked for Troy when I was in culinary school in Dallas way back in the 90s. And then at the Super Bowl, he was one of the commentators, and he came up to our area, and I got my 20-second, handshake and conversation with Troy to kind of bring that full circle to say, hey, man, here I am all these years later, but it was fun.
Okay. I know you bring in a lot of talent. You have a music night and everything. Could you share with us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when we inherited the space, when we moved in, we had the stage. And so my brother, who is my silent partner, he was like, man, we need to have music. We need to figure out how to utilize the stage because the only other option was to tear it out and add more seating. So we tried to bring in a lot of local bands. Our house band for a number of years was Hippie Chick. Chrissy McIntosh and her husband, they would come in and play and did a great job for us. Broke our hearts when she retired, but we still love you. We still love you, and they still get food from us. So, and then we also have PB&J that plays on a regular basis, which is a local jazz band. They're part of the Monroe Big Band. Early on when we first opened, we had the jazz series that we used to run through here, leading up to the Jazz Festival when Monroe had the Jazz Festival. So, we've always done that. Now we're doing comedy. We have a big comedy event coming up. As a matter of fact, Friday. I don't know when this is going to air, but Friday night. We have a big comedy event coming up, and we do comedy through the winter, and then in the spring we shut it down. Usually just before or right after Cinco de Mayo, we shut it down. And of course, man, we're a Mexican joint. We're going to have Cinco, right? And so with Cinco, we're going to have a live Mexican band. We're going to have DJ Big Mike, Totally Focused Entertainment, as our DJ. We're going to have some drink specials. We're going to have some, taco specials and things like that throughout the day. We're going to have some giveaways from some of our other vendors that are giving away some fun, goodies and things like that. So it's going to be a party. It's going to be a good time. So yeah. But thank you.
Thank you. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with us that you can cover, or that we covered everything?
Listen, I am going to say this, okay? I know a lot of people have some negative connotations or feelings about this community, but I'm going to tell you, and I said this when we moved here 8 years ago, this city's poised for a lot of growth and a lot of change, but the only way that happens is if we all do it together. It's not just going to be me and my restaurant. It's not just going to be the guy down the street. The only way that we get better is if we get better together. So, man, come on board. I don't care what restaurant opens up down the street, you'll see me there. I believe in supporting all things Monroe. I don't care if it's a new joint, an old joint, as long as it's here and it benefits the community in a big way, I'm going to be there. So come along with us, man. Let's just grow the city one day at a time.
Thank you so very much.
Of course,
Thank
of
you.
course.
All right, that's it. Thank you. All right, we're back here at the Dorsch branch, and I would like to thank Amaya for letting us come in and film with them and the great food and everything that they had. So I just want to show you a couple of books that we have here at the library. These are just ones that I have at the Dorsch branch. We have cookbooks, we have Christmas, we have crafts, and so a lot of good things throughout the library. So just stop by one of our branches, or you can call and request some books anytime. So until next time, you have a wonderful day. Be safe and be kind. Bye.
Thank you, Miss Karen. And now, let's go to our interview with Miss Regina and Miss Kristen. Hello, and we're back, and we are talking to two ladies today who are in charge of the Memories of Orchard East Community Archive Project. And who do we have here today?
My name is Regina Manning. I'm a reference librarian with the Monroe County Library System.
And?
My name is Kristen Brown, and I am a facilitator on the project.
Great. Ladies, I'm going to hand over the mic and tell me what exactly is the Memories of Orchard East Community Archive Project Plan. And I'll let either one of you talk, whoever wants to.
So the Community Archive Project is a project that came about from doing work within our collections and just realizing that there was a pretty big gap that we had through our library collections. And so we've gathered a small group of people throughout the community, including the city, the museum, the community center in Orchard. And our main goal for this project is to collect material that can be housed and preserved so that people have access to the memories of Orchard East. So when I say that we're collecting things, we're actually just collecting digital aspects of these things. So we're not actually keeping anybody's documents or photographs. We plan to create a digital collection based on the material.
That's great.
So some of the things that we are looking to collect for the project would be different documents, so different letters, notebooks, journals, cookbooks, even yearbooks from Orchard Center High School, Bibles that often have family history in them, anything like that, even 3D objects. There was discussion about the rich history of boxing with the community center, so we're looking into aspects of that, and also any and all photographs. So we're not really concerned with a specific timeline in Orchard. We're just trying to collect as much material as we can so we can really showcase the rich culture and the rich community that exists in that area.
Thank you very much. Now, if anybody has any of this for you, how do they get a hold of you?
We are planning on having some informational meetings coming up. We're going to have a table at the Juneteenth event down at Navarre Library, and we're going to have some informational meetings after that, kind of discussing it and get some interest in it. And then on July 15th from 9 to 12 at the Navarre Branch Library will be our big event where we'll actually be scanning people's documents. We'll have a booth set up for oral histories if you just have stories to share. And we'll probably be doing a couple of those. And then you can feel free to call us or email us here at the library, and we'll fill you in or set you up an appointment or whatever we can do.
Which library? Should they contact you here at the
Here at
Ellis?
Ellis. Yep.
Here at the Ellis?
Yep.
All right. Anything else you want to let them know, or anything before we go?
So we will have some informational programming. We'll do some informational programming in June and July so that if people want more specific information about the project, how we'll be collecting, what we'll do with the items, things like that, we would love to have community participation. That's kind of a big factor in this, is this project won't exist if we don't have people who are willing to trust us with the material and who aren't willing to share that information with us. So we really take into account that the community is the main factor here, and we want to keep your stuff preserved and just highlight their experiences. So we will have that information up on our social media accounts, the library website, and as Regina said, you can call and talk to the reference department at Ellis, and they can fill you in on the details too.
Great. So if nothing else, just go to MyMCLS.com and you can find the information there. Whose idea was this?
Kristen? So it was actually my idea. I'm currently in my master's program for archival studies, and the concept of community archives has come up in my methods class, and I just thought it was a really cool idea to give power back to communities to choose what they want to share instead of having one person picking and choosing what they think is good. So that's why we really focus on the community and getting people involved in. So at the programs that we'll have, we'll talk to people about, are there certain people you want to highlight? Are there certain collections you want to make sure that get out into the public so that we're not making the decisions, it's more of the people.
And I think it came about at a really good time because of all the changes that are going on down there. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of changes throughout the years, but now especially there seems like there's great positive changes, and so we want to kind of preserve that history, and before some things get lost, we can remember what it was like or what businesses were down there throughout the past.
I think that's super. I really do. I give you ladies a lot of credit, and I hope it's a huge success. So thank you very much. Well, that's it for us for this month, folks. Until next time, be safe, be kind, take care.